My wife fell asleep from boredom when I told her about this audio column. And yes, that really is my wife snoring in the background. Don't worry, I'm not going to wake her. I got to admit, this audio column bores me as well. Let's see if you can stay awake for it. We'll begin with a story about John Arquilla, a faculty member at the U.S. Naval Postgraduate School. Reporters describe him as a cyber war expert who knows all about the amazing computer weapons we unleashed in the first Gulf War in 1991. Of course, Arquilla can't really tell us anything about it since it all remains super secret, ultra classified, eyes only mega need to know. But hey, that doesn't stop him from basking in the limelight on TV and in print. Arquilla guest starred in the 2003 PBS Frontline special on Cyber War. Now, if you're a regular listener to my audio columns, then you'll recall I trashed that Frontline special in a rather hilarious fashion. Right there on TV, Arquilla exposed his amazingly naive perspective on terrorism. I'm going to quote him in context from that Frontline special. Listen.
But we have to worry about the possibility of a campaign approach being taken by the cyber attackers in which they mount several attacks over a period of hours or perhaps over days. Think about, for example, a NIMDA virus, something like that would be deployed once a week for 3 months. Think about the economic impact of something like that.
But it gets better. Hang on, here we go. Remember, I'm quoting him in context. Listen.
If I were establishing a terror organization today, I would be more interested in doing costly disruption by cyberspace-based means. If I did physical destruction, I would know that I would have to deal with a bunch of angry Americans who would track me to the ends of the earth. On the other hand, if I could engage in acts that would cause hundreds of billions of dollars worth of costly economic damage, and I could do it relatively secretly, why wouldn't I pursue that aim? And why wouldn't that make me a great hero to the constituency I was serving, my people, those who believe as I would? So if I were a terrorist, I would be thinking these days about mass disruption rather than mass destruction.
Stay awake, please. I swear you look like one of Arquilla's students with those droopy eyes. Page 2. Oh man. This is tough. Okay, now let's turn to the friendly fearmongers at mi2g. If you're a regular listener to my audio columns, then you know all about these guys. This firm loves to pull numbers out of its butt for reporters. In a recent spat of news alerts, or thinly veiled press releases as I like to call them, mi2g insisted the combined economic damage to date from the Bagel, mi2g, and mi2g viruses has now crossed $100 billion worldwide. These 3 computer viruses each made their debut in early 2004, and if you take mi2g at face value, which you shouldn't, those 3 viruses caused over $100 billion in what Arquilla himself describes as, and I quote,
costly economic damage.
Okay, let's pull it all together before you fall asleep, too. It appears cyber terrorists took John Arquilla's advice. They unleashed dozens of variants of the Bagel, mi2g, and mi2g viruses. They did it relatively secretly, too. mi2g insists this diabolical act caused over $100 billion in damages around the world in a matter of weeks. And yet, no one seems to care. Nope, she's still asleep. Go figure, eh? CNN headline news anchors reported Arquilla's cybertastrophe in a rather upbeat tone. You call that terrorism? Arquilla urged everyone to, and I quote,
think about the economic impact of something like that.
Unfortunately, the very thought of it bored my wife to sleep. Listen to her back there. It's probably boring you to sleep, too. I gotta admit, I feel pretty tired myself. I can barely keep my own eyes open with all this terrorism raging around the world. I want to leave you with one final thought before I tuck myself in. If you had to choose between real terrorism versus Arquilla's terrorism, which would you choose? I said it before, and I'll say it again. I'd choose a cyberside bomber over a suicide bomber any day. And I'd choose fragmented TCP packets over fragmented body parts. Memo to John Arquilla. Don't blame me for the fact you sound so naive. I quoted you in context. You brought this on yourself with a little help from mi2g. Now, I gotta catch some Z's, folks. Good night. I'm Rob Rosenberger. For V-Myths. I didn't even throw those right, did I? Hang on a second here. I really got to try that again. I got to get a decent throw here. I'm Rob Rosenberger. This one too. For V-Myths. That's VMYTHS.com. Truth about computer security hysteria. Be there or be scared.